there. Ever feel like you're stuck?
Yeah.
Living by somebody else's rules. Well, today we are diving deep into the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's like this guide to, breaking free from those invisible chains and like really living with intention.
It's amazing how Ruiz can take these ancient Toltec wisdom principles and makes them like so relevant to, all the struggles we face today.
Absolutely.
It's like a roadmap to personal freedom, wouldn't you say?
Totally. And he jumps right into this idea of domestication, which, to be honest, sounds kind of jarring at first. It's like, are we talking houseplants here? What's he getting at?
He's talking about how from the moment we're born, we're just like absorbing all these rules and beliefs about like how the world works, how we should behave, even what we should think.
Wow.
It's like being trained. Like we domesticate animals.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing then, this whole domestication thing. We kind of need some rules to function in the world, right?
Oh, of course. But it's about recognizing how those ingrained beliefs, those agreements that we've kind of made unconsciously, how those might actually be holding us back from like experiencing real freedom and joy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But how do we even begin to like identify these invisible agreements?
Right.
They're so ingrained. It's like they're a part of us.
Exactly. Ruiz describes this as the mitote, like that mental fog of all those ingrained beliefs and assumptions and fears. Just imagine a crowded room, right, full of voices, each one vying for your attention. That's your mitote.
Oh, I know that feeling, that constant mental chatter. So exhausting.
Yes.
Is that what he means when he says it keeps us from seeing our true selves?
Precisely. So why he compares this mitote to a parasite.
It's a parasite.
Yeah, that's feeding off all our like negative emotions. So the more we feed into those negative thoughts and all that self-doubt, the stronger this parasite becomes. And that prevents us from, experiencing true freedom.
That's a powerful image. So how do we break free? I'm guessing this is where these 4 agreements come into play, like weapons against this parasite.
Exactly. Think of them as tools for, taking back your power, for silencing that mitote. And then you can live a more intentional life.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hear about these agreements. What's the first one?
The first agreement is be impeccable with your word.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the deeper meaning there? Because it's got to be more than just like being polite, right?
It really is. It's about recognizing the power of your words, and not just to others, but like to yourself too. Every time we engage in that negative self-talk or gossip, it's like we're casting spells with our words.
It's like that saying, words can never hurt me. I don't think Ruiz would agree with that.
But definitely not. Ruiz would say that words have immense power to create and to destroy.
Yeah.
Think about it. A time when someone said something really hurtful to you. Those words can stay with you for years.
You're right. They do. Words have a lasting impact.
They do.
It reminds me of that story Ruiz tells about the woman who tells her daughter she has an ugly singing voice.
Right. And the little girl, she internalized that comment.
Yeah.
And then never sang again. Imagine the impact on her life.
Wow. Yeah. Heartbreaking. It makes you realize how important it is to choose our words carefully, especially when we're talking to ourselves.
Absolutely. We tend to be so much harsher on ourselves than we would ever be to anyone else. This agreement is about, encouraging us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and compassion we would offer, someone we love.
Yeah.
A loved one.
It's like we're constantly narrating our own lives. And this agreement is about like changing the script to be more empowering.
Exactly. Now, building on the importance of our words, Ruiz's second agreement challenges us to like examine how we receive the words of others, even when they seem intentionally hurtful.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's don't take anything personally,
Yeah.
right? That one feels especially relevant today with all the, all the negativity and polarization in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This agreement is about recognizing that other people's actions, their words, they often stem from their own insecurities and their fears and their past experiences, not ours. So even if someone is like screaming in your face, it's more a reflection of their inner turmoil than anything you've done.
Oh, for sure. Easier said than done, though.
Right.
I know I've definitely taken things personally that probably had nothing to do with me. It's like that saying, hurt people, hurt people. Like their negativity is more about them than us.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. A great example is like online trolling. People who feel the need to tear others down online, they're often just projecting their own like unhappiness, their insecurities onto strangers.
That makes a lot of sense. So instead of like taking the bait and getting all like drawn into the drama, we can choose to see their behavior as like, just a reflection of their own struggles.
Precisely. It's like you're building this like shield, this shield of emotional immunity. Their words can only hurt you if you let them.
That's a powerful image. So by not taking things personally, we're kind of like taking back our power
Yeah,
in a way.
exactly. You're choosing how you respond instead of just like reacting from a place of hurt or anger.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to see how these agreements like build on each other. We're becoming more aware of our words
Yeah.
and how we receive the words of others. What's next?
The third agreement, it challenges another like really common human tendency. Don't make assumptions. This one is all about recognizing when we're just like filling in the blanks with our own like interpretations instead of actually seeking clarity.
Oh my gosh. That is like me all the time. I'll spin this whole story in my head based on like a single text message or even a facial expression.
We all do it. But the problem with assumptions is they so often lead to misunderstandings and like conflict and all this wasted energy.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of how this plays out in real life?
Okay. Imagine you're at work
Mm-hmm.
and your boss walks by and like doesn't say hello. You might automatically assume, oh, they're mad at me or I did something wrong.
Oh, I have totally been there. And then you spend the rest of the day like stressing out, wondering what you did.
Exactly. When in reality, they might have just been like preoccupied with some work problem or got some bad news. The point is, we rarely have the full picture.
Right. So how do we break free from this like assumption trap? It feels so automatic.
By asking questions.
Yeah.
Instead of jumping to conclusions, just have the courage to actually seek clarification. Simple, hey, is everything okay? I noticed you seemed a bit preoccupied earlier. That can save you so much, like worry and potential conflict.
It's about choosing open communication over letting our imaginations like run wild.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that leads us perfectly into the fourth agreement. Always do your best.
Okay. This one seems pretty straightforward, like just work hard. Right. But I'm sensing there's more to it than that.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that our best is going to fluctuate.
Yeah.
From day to day, even moment to moment, right?
Yeah.
Some days our best might be running a marathon. Other days it might be like simply getting out of bed and facing the day.
Yeah. So it's about like releasing that pressure of being perfect, right? And accepting that our best won't always look the same.
Exactly. It's about the effort and the intention behind our actions, not about achieving some like arbitrary standard of perfection. Remember that story about the man who asks the Buddhist master how long it takes to reach enlightenment?
And the master says, if you meditate for 8 hours when your best is 2, you'll just be tired and miss the point.
Yes.
I love that story. It's a good reminder that, pushing ourselves beyond our limits, it's not sustainable.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot, like challenging yourself,
Yeah.
but also honoring your energy levels and your limitations.
Yeah. This agreement feels especially relevant today, in this like fast-paced, always-on culture. We're constantly being told that we should be doing more, achieving more, being more.
Absolutely. And that's why this agreement is so important. It's about giving ourselves permission to like slow down, to rest, to simply be without judgment or self-criticism.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that our worthiness isn't tied to our productivity or our achievements.
Exactly. We are enough, just as we are, in every moment.
It's so easy to forget that in the like craziness of life, just to be, Anyway, we've covered those 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. They seem kind of simple when you just list them out like that, but I mean, it's clearly a huge shift in perspective to actually live by them, right?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It really is like this total paradigm shift. Ruiz even calls it breaking free from the dream of the planet, actually.
The dream of the planet. Okay, what's that all about?
So he's referring to this kind of collective dream that we're all like born into. And it's a dream that's, often built on things like fear and scarcity and this need for like external validation. It tells us who we should be, what we should achieve, how we should measure our worth, all that.
So it's like we're all living in this pre-programmed reality, but we don't even realize there are other ways to see the world or ourselves.
Exactly. And those 4 agreements, they give us a way to kind of like wake up from that dream and create a new one, a dream that's rooted in, personal freedom, authenticity, and love.
That's a powerful image for sure. But how do we actually break free from this like collective dream? It feels so, I don't know, pervasive, like it's ingrained in everything around us.
It starts with awareness, right? Like recognizing those agreements that we've unconsciously made, those limiting beliefs that keep us tied to that old dream. And then from there, we can start to challenge them and replace them with new agreements that are more, in line with who we really are.
It's like we're rewriting the code of our lives. replacing that outdated programming with something way more empowering.
Exactly. And, Ruiz reminds us this is a process, not like a destination. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of self-doubt, right?
Yeah.
And times when we fall back into those old patterns. It happens.
Right. So it's about being kind to ourselves through the process, recognizing that, transformation isn't always linear.
Absolutely. Celebrate those small victories. Learn from the setbacks. Just keep moving forward, one step at a time.
That reminds me of how Ruiz describes a warrior. It's not about physical combat or anything. It's about the inner strength it takes to actually challenge those old agreements, right?
Yeah.
And then to stand firm in this new way of being.
Yes.
Yeah.
He really emphasizes that a true warrior is someone who's fighting for their own personal freedom, for the right to live in alignment with their, authentic self.
It's about reclaiming our power, the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, our experience of the world.
Exactly. And that's where true freedom lies.
This has been such a great deep dive into, the 4 agreements. As we're wrapping up here, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners will really carry with them?
I would encourage everyone listening to really view these agreements not just as these abstract concepts, but as practices, daily rituals that can really transform your life.
Yeah.
So pick one agreement and just focus on really embodying it and see how that shifts your perspective, your relationships, your overall well-being. It could be really powerful.
It's an invitation to experiment, to step into a new way of being and to discover that freedom that comes from, living with more intention, more awareness, and more love. So what would your life look like if you truly embraced the wisdom of the 4 agreements? That's something for you to ponder.